Probably you have asked yourself once at least, like, why can't I sound like a native speaker? And I'll tell you what, it's your pronunciation. Today we'll talk about pronunciation and accent, why we can't sound like a native speaker, what prevents us from doing so. But before we start, please subscribe to the channel and like this video to support me. Firstly, let's start with accent and pronunciation. What's the difference? So the difference is that accent is something that comes from your regional, social and cultural background, and that's why you may have different accent. Like if you live in America, if you live in Great Britain, if you live in New Zealand, Australia, Canada, you have different accents because you come from different places. But all this relate to the same language. It's English language. Accent and pronunciation are related, but a little bit different. Pronunciation is like the correct way of pronouncing some words, sounds, phonemes. And if you have correct pronunciation, you are closer to sound like a native speaker. Pronunciation can help you a lot. So you may say that, well, for me, it's not important to sound like a native speaker. I don't want to have that accent. I just want to have my own English with no errors or mistakes, and I can have my own accent. It makes me just unique. Yes, of course, it makes you unique, but there are some sounds which are very different in English than in other languages. When I started speaking English, I pronounced many sounds as I knew them from my own language, and my English was not very good. And then I analyzed it and I understood that it's all about pronunciation. I pronounce some words incorrectly. And today I want to share with you finally some sounds actually, which you can also change or improve if you pronounce them in the wrong way. But these sounds are really very different in English. And the first one is this sound. So the way these two sounds are written seem the same, and even I was told at school that it's almost the same. Yeah, I know that it sounds awful, but it was like that, and whenever I saw those sounds, I thought that they are the same. But no, they are totally different. The one which is bigger, let's say, it's longer, and the one which is shorter, it's a shorter sound. So this one is schwa sound, schwa sound, and that one is a sound. So schwa sound can be at the beginning of a word, in the middle, and at the end. Let's take at the beginning, like these words: ability, around, amaze. So you see they are very short. Ability, around, ago, amaze. We don't say ago, it's not long. Ago. But when it comes to long sounds, it's cabinet, long a sound, navigate, cat, bag. So it's not bag or cat. Also, let's take these two words. So this one is family. It's longer. It's family. And this one is an adjective. Familiar, not familiar. It's familiar. Familiar. We will talk about schwa sound a little bit later, especially at the end. It sounds a little bit different in American English and British English. And the next sound, which I also want to cover and which was also like a surprise to me, is dark L. So in English we have dark L and light L or regular L, which is pronounced with the tip of our tongue, like L. So light L or regular L is usually at the beginning of a word, like lamp, light, lighting, luxury. So all this just a regular L sound. But what happens if L sound appears somewhere in the middle or at the end? So it's all up to the vowel sound, which is before L sound. If it's a back sound, your L will be dark, like pull, cool. So it's not pronounced with the tip of the tongue. It's pull, cool. But if it's a front sound, like tell, so it's mostly pronounced with the tip of your tongue. Tell. It's not tell. Tell, tell, tell. Call, fill. So it's not like a regular L sound. But in general, it would take Russian language. So I know Russian language. In Russian language, L sound is L. It's very, I would say, expressive. L, L. And in many other Slavic languages. But in English, almost all L sounds are closer to dark L. And even in some words, there is no distinction between dark or light L. It's something average, like bowl, bowl. So it's a front sound, bowl, not back sound, back vowel or middle vowel. It's a front vowel, bowl, but we pronounce L like a dark L. Bowl. That's why be careful. Again, with back vowels and middle vowels, it's usually a dark L. With front vowels, tell, fill, call, it's light or regular L sound. Again, just listen to native speakers and imitate it. Imitate the way they are pronouncing some words. You can open Cambridge Dictionary and find many words with L sound and try to find whether it's dark or light. So it's just the correct way of pronouncing those sounds. After you pronounce them correctly, you can be closer to native speakers. The next sound, which is also different in English, it's R sound. So there is no R sound, like in Russian, for example, again. So there is no R, it's always R in English. And R sound is a bit different when it's at the beginning or in the middle and at the end. When it's at the beginning, it's always heard, like rabbit, robe, rocket, run. But when it's in the middle, it's up to British English and American English. So in British English, they don't pronounce R sound at the end and in the middle. So if it's garden, so it's in American English, it's garden, garden, but in British English, it's garden. It's not heard. And when it's at the end, it's a schwa sound. In American English, they say letter, better, latter. In British English, letter, better, latter. So I try to pronounce. I mostly try to follow American pronunciation because I live in Canada. It's easier for me to speak in American English than British English. Actually, it's Canadian English as well. You can choose just one way. You can speak American or British. Actually, it doesn't matter. You can even just mix accents. Like many people mix accents. Just, you should know this difference. Cucumber and cucumber. So that's the difference. So R sound, again, in the middle and at the end, it can be omitted in British English, but it's pronounced in American English. The next very different sound in English, like it's different from other languages, it's sound. Firstly, it's very different. Like it would take some other language, they can pronounce like oo. The circle of your lips is very tense. Oo. That's why when you speak in English and you use this sound as a sound from your native language, you will sound not like a native speaker. Your accent will be felt. Like if you say pool, pool, but in reality it should be pull. So your lips are relaxed and your vowel sound oo is actually a back sound. It's pull. And this sound can be long and short. So we have pull and we have pull. Pull is where we swim, it's longer, and pull is shorter. It's a verb. Pull. Pull. Even not pull. So it's pronounced somewhere from the back of your mouth. Pull. That's the way that this sound is totally different, and we need again to practice it a lot to sound closer to native speakers. The next sound, which is also different, is E sound. It can be again short and long, like we can say leaf and leaf. So again, at school, they didn't taught me the difference because they said that they're the same. Maybe because they didn't want me to experience those feelings that, wow, it's so difficult, I can't pronounce it, I can't feel the difference. It happens, but in general, it should be leaf and lith. Leaf is longer and lith. Feet and fit. Feel and fill. Least and list. Short E and long E. Actually, if you are going to pass a listening test from IELTS or TOEFL, you can see that sometimes you can confuse the words. just because of such sounds. You can confuse 50 and 15. 15 is longer than 50. 50, it's shorter. That's why you have to be more careful. And the last sound, which is also different in English, is T sound. So it's pronounced with the tip of your tongue. T. Actually, there are a lot of other variations, but we are talking about a regular T sound. It's not as in other language, like it's not T, T. We don't say toy, T, T. It's not pronounced with the surface of your tongue. It's pronounced with the tip of your tongue. So you say toy, time, totally. It's not totally, totally. That's why, again, practice a lot to have correct pronunciation. So if you have correct pronunciation, if you pronounce words correctly, you will have zero or minimum accent. Follow this channel for more information like that. See you in the next video.